Ellen Greenberg, we're finally seeing some progress on this case when I think a lot of people, including maybe even her family, thought we're never going to get some justice here. And we're not there yet, but we are finally back on the rails, going somewhere, not just hearing denials saying you can't get on this track, even though this is the track you need. Joining me to discuss, Robin Dreeke, retired FBI Special Agent, Chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. It's a case that's more than a decade old, and thanks to her parents continuing to fight this, we're going to take this to the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. And it's not necessarily ruling of, are we going to change with the Supreme Court her classification of death from suicide to undetermined or homicide, which it's one of the two. Very likely homicide, considering I don't believe in Pennsylvania anyone has the power to come back from the dead and stab themselves repeatedly. Be
Oh
pretty
my
amazing
God.
if they did, but I don't think they're in The Walking Dead over there yet. We're going to go to the Supreme Court, and they're going to see if family members can challenge the coroner's ruling uh, beyond the initial ruling. It doesn't have to be a significant other, because that's where the Greenbergs were stuck for so long. Robin, this could be really kind of monumental, determining this case and where it goes. It'll be thrown back to a lower court to be heard, but there's got to be a lot of cases out there where people have tried to challenge it, and according to the current rules, only certain people are allowed to do that.
Yeah, it's this is one of those cases, Tony, where you look at it and you're like, "What the hell?" This
Mhm.
it makes no common sense whatsoever that someone that was stabbed, what was it, 20 times?
Yeah,
20 times did it by suicide.
and change
I
knives, and did 10 in the back, 10 in the front. Post
and
mortem
after she
stab,
ends
yeah,
and after she's dead
yeah,
because they
and
so that
post mortem stabbing as well, and it's
you know,
suicide.
so beyond this case, and thank God, the parents are doing what parents do.
Yeah.
We fight for our children forever and ever and ever for righteous things. And but to me, this underlines a larger problem we're having in the criminal justice system in our country at large. Look at the lack of faith and trust in organizations, institutions that we're getting because of things like this.
Mhm.
This is a broken system for whatever reason, for whatever profit motive there was or whatever convenience it was. They decided not to rule this a suicide.
Mhm.
It makes no sense. The only thing, what really, stupidly pops in my mind is going all the way back to the movie Jaws.
Mhm.
Remember, the coroner originally ruled it was shark attack. Well, it doesn't quite fit what we want coming out here. She died by boat propeller,
Yeah.
boat accident.
Yep.
That's we're going to change it to boat propeller. What? So it really reminded me of that case of, well, it's not convenient for the town to say it was a shark attack or a suicide. So we'll say, or it's not convenient to say it was a murder. We'll say it's a suicide for whatever reason. Maybe they didn't have the resources to investigate a
Yeah.
murder. The death benefits and all that plays out into it. I just don't like it at all.
There's so many questions in this case, and a lot of money and a lot of power that seems to
Yeah.
be behind the reasoning of this case never being investigated. Literally the next day, uh, they were there. They had a professional cleanup crew cleaning up the scene. The family of the surviving fiance got that. They had a high power attorney come in there, get all the digital evidence out, and there was no investigation. The only seeming reason that there wasn't a thorough investigation into this is because the fiance said he came back up after working out in the gym, and the door had the interior latch on it that could only be set from the inside. And he claims that he broke that thing down after waiting out there for a half hour, comes in and finds her stabbed. The 911 call is one of the weirdest 911 calls I've ever heard in my life. Uh, but when you look at the evidence, though, I mean, that's the story that he said, and you look at the actual evidence of the door, there's not a lot of evidence of this thing being broken down. I mean, if you look at those things, if you break them down, it rips the wood out. It will cause damage. It's designed to do that.
Mhm.
That's why it's not designed to just open. If you just push it hard enough, it's not going to come out. And there isn't really evidence of it, but that's the story. And the story was believed. And then everything after that was seemingly predicated on that notion that that was a true statement. Now, he's innocent, never been charged with anything, has moved on with his life, I believe remarried somewhere. So I'm not saying he's guilty or anything, but what I am saying is, why didn't we investigate this? Why was there no questioning? Obviously, that's the first person you're going to look at. And if it's not him, I would think he'd be the person that might have some information of anybody of who might have done this or who might have some interest in it. But you just say it's a suicide and walk away. There's nobody to question because it's just a suicide. None of it makes any sense at all.
Yep. Not one lick of sense at all. I'm with you. The anytime someone says 911 call and murder, my alarm bells go up.
Yeah.
Uh, I worked with people at Quantico that did amazing research studies on 911 calls, and the overwhelming preponderance of the person that calls in the 911 call on a murder, um, they're involved.
Oh, yeah.
Again, we're not saying it here at all, but I'm saying they actually have a. I wish I could recall. I know the person who did this study. They actually put a book out on this. There's actually a checklist you go down for 911 calls to, and it has, I think, last I heard, is like 95 to 98% accuracy to assess whether the caller of the 911 call was actually the perpetrator of the crime.
Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Brueski, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.